Other than that, I believe we're all cool. Disclosures of interest, anyone?
Nope.
Good. Any questions or comments? Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't here for September meeting, unfortunately, but the minutes you're hopefully about to approve, item 206 says you resolve to accept Assure's proposed change to a leasehold term of 999 years. Can I just ask, if that was the case, what was the point of the 28th of September meeting, which had exactly the same agenda item, and resolved to accept the leasehold term of 999 years?
On the September meeting, it was conditional on them being agreeable to us putting in some extra covenants about the an insolvency clause and about the use of the land as an operational.
It doesn't say conditional, it just says resolve to accept that and
yeah,
go on to all of it, so it's not.
There was a lot of discussion about the exact wording of the resolution, and that was the one that was agreed.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just seemed to me to be a waste of the parish's precept, a waste of the clerk's cost of room hire, wages and your time to do something you already voted on, that was all. And just for interest, you might be aware you've got exactly the same agenda item being listed at 13 on this agenda.
That was just because I left on because I wasn't sure whether we would have resolved everything.
Can I just ask one more on that? After the meeting, I did speak to the chair outside, because there obviously was some things going on, and you stated to me that there was information in the PC that I wasn't privy to. I fully accept that. The agenda item did say to receive an update. You went straight to that meeting, you just went straight to the vote. Would that not have been an ideal time to give an update to the parishioners that were here to let them know why you were doing that?
I believe I did give an update at the meeting. I informed the parish that the planning application had been submitted.
Yes,
And
but
was
give me a reason for why.
Got to finish. The planning application was submitted. It's currently with the County Council for review. As we were in conversations with NPC with regards to their lease term, there was an update given in my opinion. Unfortunately, if you disagree with that, sorry. Can I just touch base back onto you pointed out the second meeting, there were no costs for the clerk for that meeting because she didn't attend the meeting.
She would have been cost because she would have had to prepare the agenda, she would have to do things, and she did turn up, so there would be a minimal cost, but there would be a cost there.
In your opinion?
Oh, are you doing things for free now, can I ask then, Clark?
I think Claire does a fair bit for free, to be honest.
Even when you would share, Greg.
No, that too.
No, just saying that these things incur costs that you have to be aware of. In that case, you know, just be careful what you say to me, because when you say to there's information I'm not privy to, you know, it makes me think that you're keeping something quiet, and that the whole, most of the people on here were voted on because they wanted to make things more open and transparent.
I don't recall that conversation that I said that you weren't things we were privy to. That you've not been present at every meeting this year where we discussed the surgery, which is a point you noted. You missed that last meeting where we discussed that. Yeah, I don't have anything else to add.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah, there's a little question on finance and one about parish meetings. May I just ask them at the time if it's not brought up?
No, it's fine, just go ahead.
The finance one, it was just a question on, there's a cost for the portal plan quest of £526 and it's under the head of expenditure for the multi-use building. I was just wondering what that one was for, please.
That's the planning application for building the rec field. Planning application for the rec field.
Did we not?
So can we have one question at a time, sir?
Well, it's a public question.
Oh yeah,
Well,
the lady here is speaking.
It's just a follow-up. So I thought we actually had money allocated for that in the previous meeting. There was an application fund that we agreed to. You had a fund that you were applying for, and sorry, you had a fund that you were applying for money from, and I actually made the point that you didn't need to do that because you actually had money available out of the multi-user building, and I was told that was incorrect, that you needed that that fund for moving the planning application forward. So now it appears that I was correct and that we can take it out of the multi-user building. The next question would be...
Before, no, but it's still the same question.
Excuse me, sorry. Wait till we finish.
The other one was for
You're getting your turn.
the Hardman Design building. The Hardman Design and Build is a cost for 2,850 for Riverside. Is that a second payment for the ramp?
Yes, it wasn't, yes.
Yes, it's towards it.
So obviously it was not started in the August time frame, and it's been laid dormant ever since there was a start on it. I was just wondering what the plan is for that and how long is it going to take?
I believe that the materials have been ordered and there's a lead time to get the materials, which is what the second payment helps towards to cover the cost of that.
Okay. There's a question relating to the standing items to receive reports. So the question is, has Felton Parish Council had meetings with Azura since the public meeting in Felton earlier in the year? There was a public meeting in the hall here. So has Felton Parish Council had a meeting with Azura since that time?
We have not had a public meeting since that time.
No, not a public meeting, sorry, a parish council meeting.
Not with Azura, no.
Not with Azura. Have you had a meeting or discussions with the internal integrated care board and or Northumbria primary care?
No.
No. So you've had no meetings with the primary care, integrated care board, and there hasn't been a parish council meeting with Azura since that public meeting. Thank you.
Can I just clarify the first question in terms of the payment for the planning consent? Is that a payment to the council?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I've got a question just related to the minutes that have been published in this agenda for the 11th of September. On the agenda of the 11th of September on finance, there was 7 items listed on the agenda for approval, but in these published minutes there's something like 14 items. So I don't understand how the 7 items have been approved that didn't appear on the agenda.
They were presented to the parish council on the screen on the mount.
I don't believe there were.
They were.
Well, I believe Mr. Crooked videoed that meeting. Is that correct, Mr. Crooked?
No.
No, he didn't. Well, fortunately I did. I've looked at the video and I didn't see it being presented.
They definitely were.
So he presented, I'll just quote from the list that's on there, David Ogilvy Cemetery Assets. There's a bill of £3,528. So at that meeting, you're claiming that the amount of £3,528 was stated to the councillors before they voted on it.
Yes.
Right, okay. There's an item, staff salaries and expenses, which was marked as to be confirmed. Now in these minutes, it's actually listed as £3,115. Can you elaborate on what those staff salaries are?
Yes, it's staff salaries.
But there's already an item at the top of there for staff salaries, so this appears to be an additional £3,000. So why are there now 2 entries for staff salaries totaling £4,000 in one
Because
month?
we didn't meet in August, so there's what would have been presented in August, which is the top amount, and then the second amount which would have been presented at the September meeting.
So these are just normal salary payments, they're not back payments or
No.
anything? Okay. Right, that's it.
Anyone else? minutes of the previous meeting to approve as record minutes of meeting held with council on the 11th of September, pages 2 to 6. Do we have any further comments on the minutes from the council? We had a comment from the member of the public with regards to
minute 211.
yeah, minute 211 where we wish yeah, I'll get close.
In minute 211, which relates to planning, I've simply commented that we received the list of ongoing planning matters and we noted planning application relating to the airfield is likely to go to the NCC local planning committee. And the member of the public has commented that some of the councillors made comments regarding having to close their windows and doors and commented about low-flying aircraft over their gardens and has requested that some of those comments are added into the minutes.
We did talk about the Jubilee tree planting and the stone trot plant there, and the winning design from the fair, but it seemed to get lost in numbers between.
Was that at the same time as planning?
It was
All
all
right,
around
that.
that.
Oh, sorry.
On that basis, we'll push the drafts to the next meeting to get them formally approved then. Move on to item 5, finance. Receive financial summary and budget monitoring to 26th September, pages 7 to 10.
Page 10, on the version I received, there was a whole lot of expenditure on the side with a partial heading saying Felton Cemetery with bits missing.
Yes, I have trouble as well.
So my printer's not working very well anyhow.
It wasn't your printer.
Oh, right.
Well, mine hasn't printed out like that, so I don't know why.
Okay.
It's printed, the DocX version printed, but the PDF
It was weird.
went haywire. Yes.
Ah.
Did you print off the PDF?
I probably did. I wouldn't know actually.
That's
That's a very technical question. It was on the screen, it looked wrong, but that might have been the printer version. Because on my computer you have to click twice on the printer.
No, it wasn't the printer, mine didn't work either.
Okay.
Sorry about that, I don't know why that's happened.
I should have asked earlier, but
To be fair, well, I'll just print one off next time and check it's printing properly in the
Thank you.
PDF version before I send it round.
so is it on page 10 on the screen? Does it look almost as if it was an extra stage?
No, it shouldn't be. I don't know why it's something like that. It's page 10 there.
Right, balance. Oh, brilliant. So got it. It's actually reproducing the left-hand column
Oh,
on the right hand of the page.
is it weird? I will check it next time.
I'm doing it several times while we look at it. And it does add up.
Okay. It's always positive. Anyone get any comments? Any questions? Moving moving on then to authorised payments. We've got staff salaries, planning portal, art and design, and invoice for the painting of the railings at the cemetery.
For what?
The painting of the railings at the cemetery. Yeah. Do we have to vote to approve? Yes.
What was called the plan request again?
That's the Redfield
Redfield.
planning application.
Yeah.
It's because it comes through, like, so you fill it in online on the, via a link from the Northumberland website, and then it takes you to a payment portal. So that's why it's a different company.
But that's what came up on the bank slip.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Committee working groups, received minutes and reports from the committee groups.
Yeah, they're not prepared. So there's the Redfield and the property working groups and that.
Not yet. Yeah, Redfield property met, but it's just still in preparation at this point.
Do you want to talk about the rivers meeting in this bit, or is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just hit the cemeteries first because that was
Yeah.
Parish. We had a meeting on Thursday night and the stuff moving forward with the remembrance services all in plan, and new seats have arrived for the war memorial. So at some time we need the management group to do a bit of
Yeah. No,
installation fees.
we are planning it.
And we agreed the budget, well, the proportional payments and things from each of the parishes for the next year. And if anybody has any 18-inch long flags, please come out.
Sorry.
Flagstones.
Wow.
It's probably not an appropriate place to raise it, but I was talking to somebody who was visiting the village down by the war memorial about grass cutting and broken fences, and this it was raised by the state of the riverside ramp. So I explained everything, but I said we don't seem to be able to find out who actually is responsible for that fence, which is not only broken but rotting now. And I just wondered whether putting new benches in is going to make it look even worse with the
Well, the
Just
new
raise the
benches are
fence.
doing the same. The new benches are going at the war memorial, not.
We do have it covered in item 11 in the agenda today.
right. Thank you.
We're going to discuss it.
So yeah, we had a rivers meeting last week where some members of the biodiversity committee and other members of parish council met with a group of local people with a common interest in monitoring water quality in the Coker, which we had agreed to have a go ahead from us. So
Local being Rothbury and
yeah, of the whole
Square.
length of the Coker,
Yeah.
right, and
Yeah.
down for, I think, from as far inland as Stockton, right down
Yeah.
to the harbour. There's already somebody putting a funding application in for getting testing kits, but the general gist was if they succeeded in that, then we would include the whole of Coker. Generally, it was people who were volunteering to do the testing and interested that were coming together. I myself I've got a contact with the environmental agency now, who I'm discussing with whether there might be further funding to come from that to go towards it. And the plan was to put a strategical plan together, hopefully launching in January with, I think the initial plan was to do monthly testing plus breakdown testing when there was an event, and set up a communication network for doing that. So it was quite a nice little meeting, and a lot of people, quite interested in things. So yeah, that was good.
Can I ask a quick question on that? Have you been able to get any useful history of Northern Northern Water's history of dumping sewage?
I think it's kind of, it is commonly available, you know, it's widely available and things. But we need to set, well, I've said as well, that we're going to try to set up communication with the works in Felton to start a dialogue with them as well.
And the guy from the Rivers Trust knew a lot of contacts in Northumbria Water and all the regulators and so on. So there's a huge amount of information available on outflows and dumping. It has, I think the regulations say it has to be made available, even if we don't like the regulations. They do make sure there's information available. And I think there's a map with all the stations on it as well. So there's a lot of information that we need to collect. And we did talk about trying to put together a bit of an organisation which would have somebody responsible for collating all the data, somebody for overseeing the scientific compatibility of what different groups were doing up and down. Because the WI, I think nationally, have a target this year of monitoring beaches and rivers for sewage dumping. So we had WI people from Amble and Rothbury who came to the meeting. And we are also looking for someone to do some publicity so that the whole project gets described well and illustrated well, and we can put things like that in parish magazines and to the press and look north. So it was not just a little meeting, it was very good.
Lots of information, it's what you do about it, it's the tricky bit.
Yeah. So I think he was getting us contacts within the anglers and getting information from them, and we were next to set to have another informal meeting after the Ranting About Rivers talk in Swarland on Tuesday the 17th.
So that's your next meeting, is it? Or is
Yeah,
that
but we're meeting after the talk, so I think quite a few of us were going to go and support, is it Steve?
Ranting About the River.
Ranting About Rivers, and then we were going to go to the club afterwards and see where we're up to.
Yes, this isn't an official committee of
No,
the
I understand that.
council.
Yeah,
It's working on the project.
Good to be in.
No, that's good.
And the biodiversity and climate change, I circulated the report from Chris Medrell on Burgess. If any of you have read it, then you've done well, because it's very detailed. It's very thorough, let's say.
Yeah.
Although he's left spring out, so 50% of the potential information is missing. And he's very happy to do a further review in the spring, early summer. But he's put in conclusions there which we need to discuss, and the next committee meeting will be on the 9th of November. It's in the schedule. Everybody welcome.
On the neighbourhood plan, I've produced a very provisional vision statement for the neighbourhood plan, which I'll read out to you. This is, like I said, very provisional, none of this is finalised. So long-term goals, Felton will value the diversity of its community by encouraging...
Can you send this to me so you don't have to write
Sure. Yeah. Felton will value the diversity of its community by encouraging housing that meets the needs of a broad spectrum of people of different wealth, ages and backgrounds. Number 2, Felton will both encourage and require development that will contribute towards the UK's net zero target in 2050. Number 3, Felton will value and protect its rural Northumbrian character and will designate green spaces within the parish for the benefit of wildlife and all community members. And number 4, Felton recognises the pressures it's under from modern transport and will work to provide infrastructure to help with parking and traffic flow needs. So that's first go.
No, it's a good.
But no HS2 and no 20-mile-an-hour speed limit anymore.
Okay, right.
Well, it's down to one, anyway.
No, that's good. Property management.
I think just reviewed what we've done in the past, and we've firmed down on it,
Yeah.
identified the bricklaying to be replaced, the benches to be moved.
We had anything about poo bins. Will it, Alan,
Yeah.
brought that up again?
We've ordered some bins, so there's going to be a bit of a reshuffle of bins.
Yeah.
basically.
Just we like the green bins that are Thurston.
Thurston, I'm a lovely job.
Yeah.
But a big
Yeah.
bin holds all sorts, not just.
Yeah, so we.
Oh,
yeah,
it's replaced
yeah,
those.
we're sort of shuffling the bins around, so there'll be
If
a
any
Okay.
new bins aren't
Yeah.
new bins are purchased, we can look down the down the route as
I mean,
well.
there'll be a big bin, there's a bigger bin over at Hill Rise, the smaller one there, they're going up to Coker Park, and then we'll look at replacing the ones that need to be done down. Right.
Recreal?
Yes.
The stuff around the Recreal is probably not as normal. Only thing of interest, the mugger, I think we now have a complete set of quotes to look at for refurbishing the mugger surface, which will hopefully we can look at and come to a conclusion on our next meeting, which is about the 21st.
19.
Sorry?
19.
19th.
I don't know if it's that one.
And if the members of the contract committee could join us, or at least look over the stuff first.
Oh, yeah.
And be moving forward.
Am I on the contracts committee?
You're on.
Well,
If you're not, if it comes out, and it comes out, Richard.
Stepping down just come on.
Yes, it'd be, when you send out your notice for the rec field committee, can you make sure that it gets circulated?
Oh, yes.
Can't be overdoing the committees at the moment, but there we go.
So that's this month,
Yeah.
the 19th.
19th,
Yeah.
yeah. 7:50.
Of October.
Yes.
We've touched everything now. Representation of management.
That's the limit on.
Oh, the Everest one covered there, and any other things?
No, I'm not
Yeah,
going to talk
it was all this
Thursday.
week. Yeah. Okay. Any reports from county council? Anything from Northumbria? So item 10, White Rail incident, Stop Lane. That's ongoing issues.
It's an ongoing issue and it's,
Yeah.
I mean, it's on there to fix my street now, it doesn't seem to move. You know, they said that they'd assessed the work and that's all that seems to have happened. I'm guessing it's not a priority for them, but it's to be shown for.
Yeah.
It looks bad and it's, you know.
Well, dangerous, where all the stones are loose, good luck.
Did I say about maintenance South View, all the captain stones are either fallen off or very wobbly and then fallen off, and a lot of children walk around them on top of them. My wife's round at the council a couple of times, just passing the buck to each other. So I would like one of you to ring up and ask them to come and assess it, please, for one kid gets injured. That's more so,
Yeah,
South View.
they are good stones walking along.
The them you refer to as the county council.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's, can we not get our
You tried to
County
look
council
through
to-
their Fix My Street app.
My wife dealt with it somehow, I don't know, she said it wasn't a council problem, sent it to somebody else, she went back and said no, it's council, so.
Right. Okay.
What, are they trying to budget to highways?
I think so.
No, we can look on.
I could easily go along and just pop loads off like that's how loose they are.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very good.
I mean, have we got a bypass from just, because if they just keep saying put it on Dixwell Street?
I don't know, I mean, was it the property manager who was sort of saying we need to,
I think we have discussed the white fence there and I thought that do we then, for instance, where we've got the rotten mats in it, do we remove that for safety and then,
But
then
as soon as we start messing with it, I
If
think
anything
becomes
happened,
our
we would be
Yeah.
liable.
we I think that's what we wrote to them and said,
Yeah.
we are going to take mass, we are going to do this and effectively build the work in the same way as they would do it the other way around.
Yeah.
But, I know,
we got to fix everything and then let it do them.
but,
Because it seems to be a common theme at the moment that something's busted dangerous and we let them know and nothing happens about it.
But we get an email out to them saying that there's been no action on this since it was logged. Would they be happy if we rectified it and sent the invoice on? Richard?
Perhaps we could ask our ward councillor if he'd like to inaugurate the repairs, because he does like appearing in photographs in the press or on the telly with initiatives in the village, and he's got a slush fund, so I think he should be asked, and maybe the chair of the council will come as well.
Maybe we could get a little video of him walking along
Yeah.
the paving slabs on Saturday.
Yeah, and the white fence, because that is a mess.
And the fence at Riverside where it's about
But,
topple over.
You know, seriously, I think he should be made aware that we're still struggling to get anybody to respond.
Did we have any progress with the footpaths, Victoria Terrace footpath?
no, a member of the public had managed to speak to Ben Sanderson about it, who had said he will champion the cause internally, so we'll see what comes of that, but I don't know that.
Can we get Grant Ben Sanderson to champion any other causes?
I'll speak to Trevor and Glenn and
We
see.
did, yeah.
Read it, but we put a thing in the
But I
red.
think, yeah.
It's alright with Cumberland schools.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, but I'll see if I can get Glenn or Trevor to come round and look at these things with us.
Yeah.
It might
Yes.
help.
There's also the
With a
second
camera.
drains on.
Family.
Bell
Yeah,
Mill.
I still haven't been.
And they still, I thought they put something on there about those, but they're not being repaired now.
They were last time I got past.
They're definitely not repaired. I've not
So
I've
basically
not
all
had
the
an
things
update
you
on
put
it
on.
through that. I don't know whether they will hold off on anything if they're, because it's right in the bell knife for the doctor's surgery, which it will all get dug up and disturbed during that. They may be holding off, hoping that someone else is going to pay for any
They've
repairs.
got a duty of care.
Oh, they do, yeah.
It's,
Have all the roads been adopted?
I believe the roads are showing as on their adoption on the fixed machine app. They don't recognise the drains, so it might be the drains have not been, the road colours haven't been adopted yet. But I believe the surfacing and all that area is showing in their adopted maps on the fixed machine. It's just when you go into the detail of because I think when you go into that app, you need to like categorise, right, is it drains, is it this, is it road gullies, and it highlights them on the map, whereas if you do that for, say, Benmore Grove, they show you the individual ones, whereas on they don't, you have to then pinpoint location. But yeah, see, I don't believe there's any update email on it, so we'll follow up getting that. We want to fence at the riverside.
This is one of the same ones, are we going to just...
Yeah, I think.
this is all what we're going to vote whether or not we were going to offer to adopt this with our own responsibility if they would hand it over and get it fixed.
I think that might be the best option. So we try and take ownership of that and then look to some picnic benches or the sort on the land there as well. But it's
surely we should be very careful we don't end up adopting the supporting rule.
Well, I think the argument the county is it's ours anyway.
No, they look after the retaining wall.
Yeah. But
Well, if we
Because
pick
the
up a,
retaining wall supports the road, so they said that basically they look after that, they claim the fence. And this was exactly my argument to them, that how can they own the road and the drop, but not the fence on the edge of the drop?
Yeah.
Because it's different, it's the same, comes down to the same thing though, that people were saying about being round apartments, that it's different apartments looking after different things, and they don't really talk to or agree to each other, it seems the same problem.
when they came and put that little fence in at the front, was that highway?
That was highways.
So in that case, they own that bit. So it should be highways that are
No,
responsible
but
for
highways,
that.
that's because it's on,
Because it's
it's
within
within so
boundary of
many
the
distances
surface.
of the
Yeah, but if you look at the
highways.
map of what NCC own and what everybody else owns, it's all clearly marked as being their territory.
No, that is not marked as theirs.
And
That's
it's,
what it was.
the walls on the riverside, is it? And what does it do? Stop riverside falling into the river?
Yeah.
Well, that's highway, surely.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
part
the
of the
thing I was-
highway
It's
structure.
shown up the road.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it must be
Oh.
joking.
It makes no sense, but I understand how it's happened. I don't think we need to be careful not to set a precedent saying, oh, if you don't look after something, we'll take it over and start looking after it.
What we could
But
do is
I think in
we
this...
could provide them with quotes saying
Yeah.
that these are quotes we've obtained
Yeah.
for repairing the fence
Mhm.
to
If you
kind
don't
of
do
encourage
it,
you to go along. We would like to do it. If not, the ground of safety, we'll do it, and then you will be reimbursed or be returned to yourself. Again, just go down that route with it. If we're not going to get them doing it, that one particularly is for safety, and especially when we're really doing the repairs going to the riverside ramp. Footfall to that area is going to be greater during
Yeah.
next summer, and so I think it needs to be carried out sooner rather than later on that.
I think I'd like to suggest that we, as a council, might pay a structural civil engineer to walk down there, have a look at it, and say what he thinks the relationship between the wall and the road and the various fences is.
But NCC Highways have been out and looked at that wall before, because I raised some issues about
And
that.
have they reported?
I mean, it was quite a long time ago now, they do monitor the wall.
So they admit that.
Wall.
they monitor the walls because there's the crack at the bridge at the end, and
And
they
they
monitor
monitor
the
it.
whole lot all the way along
Yeah,
because there's movement from the bridge.
but then they have to ensure it's safe if it's their structure. So there has to be a way of breaking and batting it back and forward so it's not a hoss.
Trevor likes Riverside, let's get him.
Yeah.
Well, he was responsible for the little fence, wasn't he?
That was also to keep cars off.
Oh, I know, but it's still, he was
Yeah.
part of moving forward,
Yeah.
so.
Perhaps we should have another protest. Get the other placards on it.
Safe Park Riverside.
I will give Trevor.
Maybe worth talking to them as well, because it's
Yeah.
both
Sure.
sides of the road, you know.
We don't have a friend in highways, do we?
Obviously not, given the 7 years that everything falls on.
Actually,
If I did have a friend of highways, I wouldn't be allowed to talk to you about
but I don't think the top, I don't think that bit, I think that's the problem, that the strip right side of the road is highways and the drop is highways, and this is that none of the departments wants,
To take ownership in the middle.
it's not on their map of ownership, I don't think.
Well, we could offer to demolish the wall
Anyway.
and let the riverside fall into the river.
I think that's a sensible option.
Interesting thought, well.
So we'll
It's like
get
Kafka.
an email out to Trevor Foran and Councillor Sanderson as well. Item 12, I'm going to defer to the next meeting, as I have I'm expecting a further quote this week, which will give us a total of 3. Yeah. Amazing the pain we go through trying to get quotes from people. Surgery, given the recent meetings, I don't think there's anything further I can add.
It hasn't got any further through planning yet.
I don't believe it's appeared yet. I've not checked personally.
It hasn't popped up on mine, it hasn't come through to me, and usually send an email.
Yeah.
I looked on the planning portal just before we came up. Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
We did get a letter from, just a sort of courtesy letter that because we have an interest in the land, that just to notify us the plan would be being submitted, but to tell me a date. It was just a sort of a generic kind of info letter.
Did you say there was going to be a press release by the sewer?
As they are planning one, yeah. When that is, I don't know.
Right. I've never seen pictures of the design for the surgery or anything, probably because it was before my time. I find that interesting if there's any sort of
Yeah,
rough designs and things.
they did have what they call a microsite for the development that they plan as soon as the application's live with county on the planning. They plan on making the microsite live again, which will show you the designs and stuff. But I believe we have a copy that we can send around to you anyway.
Right. I think when it's all official, we need to do a PR job on the parishioners and explain to them what's going to happen and where it's coming from. Sell it, make it a positive thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
Has the parish council actually seen the planning application that Azura have submitted to NCC? Are they expecting it to be the same plan that they provided to the public in the public meeting?
My understanding of the discussions that we've had with Andrew Cooper is that it is the same. They have, when he is planning on relaunching the microsite, he is going to put in there I think the sort of like questions and answers and feedback on the comments they have received with regards to say Bell life changing and stuff like that. They've investigated some of them and have either discounted or allowed for. I can't tell you either way on them, so I don't know the details of them all, but they've taken them into consideration anyway. It's my understanding from the conversations. But I've not personally seen the plan pack that was submitted, but it will go live hopefully this week. Parish meeting and household information leaflet. Arrangements for parish meeting and second household information leaflet.
We agreed that we would try and find a date for the parish meeting, but we are quite full
and exhausted. If I do say so myself.
There's been a lot of committee meetings and extra meetings, so
I think that we should plan to do that after Azura have made their press release, so that because obviously if we've agreed that we're not going to do anything big until they've made their press release, then it would be nice for us to be able to do a summary in that.
I think
if we could time it like with the.
I think when we're
that's going to be the big.
a bit more to add, you know, when we've got a bigger update on that, when we've got potentially more progress in the Riverside grant and our own planning applications, I suppose.
Our own
Building?
right.
We discussed it.
Oh, Redfield. Okay, sorry.
We never done something.
Is it worth trying to find a provisional date before Christmas? Because they should be doing the press release as soon as the planning application goes public, or even before.
Will they not wait until they've got Not that I'm sad for either.
Well, no,
Just
they'll get consent.
There'll be, yeah.
They might be wants, but they're bound to get consent.
Yeah, no. Don't jinx it.
Same as last year.
What?
Don't jinx it. There will be.
It's just if we were thinking of having 2 a year,
Yeah.
if it goes on into post-Christmas, it'll be time for the next
You've got until
annual.
You've got until June next, so like there's a window of time to do it. So we can,
Yeah.
and we're early in the window this year, so we can go later in the window.
Because we don't have a meeting in January, do we?
No. But I think Jen's right. If we can delay a little, so we'll have a meaningful update for people.
As soon as we get any information from the showroom, we can
We could,
We can
but
look at different dates.
So are we going to have a parish meeting or not? At the 6 months time. This was agreed at the last one. It was a formal agreement.
Well, I don't see any reason for disagreeing with what we agreed with earlier.
well,
Which
it's
was
just
that
finding
we
a
would.
date. It's just finding a date for it.
because what I'm thinking is if we're not going to have, if we don't have a parish council meeting in January, and January is going to be a quieter time, why don't we have one in January? I mean, maybe not because only the kids go back to school, but and utilise that time.
What's this? Retention thing? Get to the-
I don't even know, let's have a look. Have you got it saved? Where?
No.
But
It'll be early then, because it'll be late then because they're breaking up quite late
Not
after.
till late. We don't break up on Christmas Eve.
So they're breaking
Yeah,
up.
so it's probably going to be the 8th of January, isn't it, that they go back on?
I don't know, maybe a in-service day or training day or something else added in there. All these teachers that like Sky, don't
Don't think I don't do it. Do it very hard.
they? They do, yeah.
Got my phone up.
How many, remind how many
Could
weeks
say-
holiday?
Results, enrollment.
Yeah,
My summer holidays disappeared.
Yep. sorry.
Following our meeting with Rob Murphy, has there been any, have we made any sort of public announcement, or has he, or has the planning or housing department about the garages and the husk nightmare green? Because
He sent that quite lengthy,
Email there, wasn't
Email.
sure. I need to check.
but
To
I
us.
think, yes, to us, which he should
But I-
have got.
But I don't know whether he was that. I don't know whether that was. I think I sort of assumed he was going to make some sort of.
Yeah.
well,
I
it
think
is an issue of public interest, and
Mm.
you know, if we weren't going to hold a meeting for another 3 or 4 months, maybe we should think about, you know, checking with Rob about
Okay,
that being
Yeah.
information being circulated.
Spring term is 8th of January.
But it should come up at the meeting anyhow, because that was a
Mhm.
campaign which involved quite a lot of people in the
But that's
village.
one of these from the east, from the hill, so I wouldn't do that.
It's from the east.
Oh, it's always been something he said every year. It hasn't happened.
Do we look? I know what the. Oh, no, that's terrible. Sorry.
What?
I was going to suggest the 11th of January, but my diary already is massive for that. Does it need to be a Monday? Basically?
No,
You know, but
because I could do, I've not got anything on that
I could do.
week. And I'll probably be desperate to get out of the house.
I think lots of people
Yeah,
might
but if you
get
do
out
it-
of the house first week of January.
If you're doing a circulation leaflet to go with it, like we talked about,
Ah, yeah,
then production is not feasible for them.
for that week.
Right. So when's the earliest we could do it if we
Or we'd have to handwrite them all.
Very good.
Yeah. But you could print it if you wanted. If it was
To
ready,
take it.
you could print it before the Christmas period.
Yeah.
Just deliver
Yeah.
it
Yeah, but we could get a lot of stuff come through over
then. Yeah.
Well,
the
we
Christmas period.
need
And
to
we
say
could-
something at the meeting
Yeah,
as well as printing it.
Yeah, but usually we need to get something with the questions and things, but January is actually, it's a really,
Good time.
I don't use the keyword because it closes things. Months
Yeah.
of availability.
Just lots of hands at it, go on.
Get off your phone.
Go. I'm looking at dates here.
Just going back to the garage, I understand from Peter that the garages that aren't in use are still unavailable, is that correct?
Right.
They are making them available.
They are not.
No, that's what you said last time.
Right.
So, you need to follow up on that.
We do.
That's fine.
Is that from recent discussions with them?
Yeah, I came in contact with the man who runs it, which is I've gone at the road, so you know what's called.
Okay, I'll,
Right.
and it might be again just one of these like different departments not told us
Yeah.
the plans, but I'll check.
Yeah. Did you have that? No.
Could I ask the clerk to remind us when we start thinking about next year's budget?
Like this
This week?
yeah, this month basically. So I'll start doing the draft, and then the finance committee's got a meeting coming up,
Okay.
and so forth. Because it's ideally would be approved by the council at either the November or the December meeting, because the pre-set request has to go in at the end of January, and we don't meet in January. So
Right.
we will have ideally approved our pre-set request before Christmas, because otherwise we have to have one of those extra
Yeah.
mini meetings that we all so.
So, I have a question following that piece of information, which is, might there be issues which we would want to discuss with the parish meeting about, we've said what our priorities are in the previous week, but we can tell people what we're thinking of doing with the budget, and we could get some feedback from the parish about how we structure the budget for next year. That sort of democracy.
Yeah, so we could do, so then it would need
Any of
to
us
be.
here the 25th of December? It's quiet day, isn't it?
Well, it's Boxing Day.
26, we're always a bit tired that day, but we can get something done
26th is the busiest day of the year.
for your perfection.
Okay, in which case we probably want to go in, we'll have to go in November then for parish meeting, because then December meeting really need to move.
It's just mental though, and like it's whether or not we're gonna have enough wrapped up at that point.
I think we're better to go in
I think-
January, and I'm suggesting the 11th.
Yeah, and I just don't think people are interested enough in November either. Everybody's on
You
that.
said not the 11th, did you?
No, she's suggesting the 11th.
Okay, but we can still air a budget. And if necessary, we'd have to have a,
Yeah, we
if
could.
there were some good ideas,
We can wait
we'd
to
have to have a
submit,
mini
yeah,
meeting.
we could wait to submit the
Well,
preset
combine the
request.
two.
Or tell the council we're submitting the budget late,
On that day,
like we do everything.
we would need to put the proviso that somebody else is willing to chair. I'm not available that
On
day.
the 11th.
Yes.
Is anything on the 15th? The Monday?
Not from me.
What we're
You'll
gonna
have
do
to,
is
that's the second week back, so the
You
second
know,
week.
problem booking the hall.
I don't know, I don't.
Third Wednesday, the third Monday in the month.
As a main hall.
Well, I presume
Yeah,
if
we need
it's
to
going to
be,
be,
yeah,
if
we need
it's
to
going to
be
be a
main hall.
bigger room.
If we
yeah.
had the numbers we had at the last one.
Does it have to be a Monday?
No,
No.
I just, no.
I suggested the Thursday, I would be fine.
Well, she was being toddling here.
We can go early, we can go before us. Do we have to go once the schools are back? We go on the Thursday, the first Thursday?
4th.
I'll be my work with that. Holiday, not yet.
Can I suggest it gets sorted with because we spent more time on this than we did on each. Just,
You were the one that wanted the day.
yeah, well, it's important. But we could sort the details.
I think, yeah,
That's our leisure.
15th
Or
is
Claire's leisure.
We
We
can.
could have it on the 11th, it just, but if Adam's not available.
we need Adam.
The 18th,
Redo,
we would have the 18th.
yeah.
We could do the 4th or the 18th.
18th.
Do Friday the 5th.
And then, like I said, Tuesday the 9th or Wednesday the 10th.
No, that's not got carpools in.
Okay.
So unless you're going to go and chat.
Every Tuesday, carnival.
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
Can we give them Thursday instead?
No, those are,
We've
there's
got
got
matches.
matches, the matches with the players, so that.
No, fair enough.
We'll go the 18th. That would still be cancelled agenda.
Yeah, no, it's all my fault.
Submit to the council.
Yeah. Should we
8.
provisionally look at the 18th then?
Hooray! Thank you.
24.
Should we say 24?
2024. It's weird, isn't it?
So what date was that?
18th of January.
There we go.
Was there the horses?
Oh, that's good, isn't it?
Roast chestnuts.
Got all those pumpkins.
Moving on then, correspondence received. Any comments? No. Moving on.
Quite a few just waiting for decisions now.
Yeah, they're probably quite busy, aren't they?
Health and CB primary school can't still be awaiting decision.
Well,
Well, it doesn't work.
it's there. I think it's like this.
It's an interesting choice then.
It's all county then, county doesn't work.
Is that what you check the website before you put this?
Yeah, check the website when I do the agenda. I haven't checked it since, so it could have been had a decision today.
Never mind.
Okay. Any
Yep.
I do realise that the land southeast of Old Park Road in Swansea, it's not directly linked to us, but it is within our parish.
Yeah.
The change in decision from an equestrian centre to 2 millionaires mansions. I don't think we should be in support of that. I think it's completely contrary.
Oh.
Is
Right.
that the one that they were,
That's the one that's sent around the email.
Yeah.
No, but was there-
Applicant.
was it their social media page that there was a bit of, or in the media was it, about?
I didn't see it in the middle, I just put it as a plan application.
Is it?
Where an equestrian centre would generate people coming into the area.
Yeah.
2 millionaires' houses don't.
Where is it? On the way into Oatswood or at the opposite end? Coming down to the other?
It's not
Oh,
far.
you describe it?
Where the
That's
coffee
where
shop
we,
is?
Where the coffee shop is.
Down from the coffee shop.
yeah.
Right.
It's the
It's where they built all the new houses. Down from there.
Just down
Oh,
the back.
yeah, yeah. I agree.
I think it's the last thing the area needs.
We haven't got that on our
We
vision.
try to get budget for houses and social housing.
Yeah.
And it's certainly a big enough area to put multiple houses on.
And it is within our boundaries, isn't it?
Yes.
I think it's actually over the boundary. I think
One
it's
of
like
it
part
I think
of
the
it.
entrance is through Swanland, isn't it?
If you want to put in comments by email, if you want to have a look at the application.
Yeah, like that. That's wrong. Any other comments? Okay. Items for next agenda. We've got that tree one that has to defer.
Yeah.
But I might, if we've got property management, there as well. Or I think either way, it's covered on here as well, is it? Julie, this week's. It's bad at television.
That will be a budget discussion.
Yeah.
During- I'm thinking of not how we managed to keep everything we've been doing for the last 2 years going, but whether we have other bold new initiatives kind of thing that we need to push it for. Like the rec field and all that sort of stuff. Cleaning up the river. Putting Felton on the map.
It's already off, but we know.
Make Felton Bridge again.
Saving the shop.
Okay.
Village handyman, where have we got to with that?
Nowhere.
Next agenda.
Yes.
We have a job description.
No, not that. Oh, yes.
I'm not sure if it's certain, but the mother resurfacing contracts. Will they come back for agreement with the, or will come back for agreement for recommendation?
Well, but yeah.
Yeah.
So the director has a look at the money and come back about that.
That's all then. We'll close the meeting, 2017.